Guys, okay. I asked a pretty tough question this morning, and the majority of you said yes. Very, 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 very few of you said no. So the question was, do you believe that a mistake repeated more than once is a decision? It took me a while for me to think about that because it turned out to be a lot harder than I thought. So I wrote down a few things and I was thinking, what was the difference? I mean, of course, when you ask any question, you're going to get two different answers. Some people will say yes and some people will say no. I honestly, personally think that a lot of people were very quick to answer yes on such a tough question, which makes me think, I mean, what are their past experiences like? Were they considered? What's their level of prejudice? Anyway, there's many variables at play when it comes to some people saying yes and some people saying no. So, in my opinion, if a mistake is repeated more than once, I don't think it's always a decision. And I think that's the key word. Sometimes it's not a decision. So this is my argument is it depends on the context. Look at the situation that person's in. So we have our neocortex, and our neocortex allows us to make sophisticated decisions based on planning, thinking of the future, strategizing. But that's not always the case. We've all been faced with a time where we are not able to control our actions or our emotions. And typically that's most of the times our reptilian brain that's taking over the floor. And it's so ancestral, it's so old, it's a really tough battle for us. So for example, when you get hurt, like when you stub your foot and you hit the corner of the bed, and it's like so painful, and what do? We just we close our eyes. And that's your reptilian brain kicking in, because when you're in fight or flight mode, your pupil dilates because it's trying to absorb as much information as possible from the situation that you're in. So when you stub your foot, when you stub your toe like that, a sharp pain, super sudden, well, your pupil dilates really quickly, and so that's the reason why our eyes get shut at the same time, because it's an impulse. So when we're faced with a situation where the reptilian brain is there trying to protect you, it's more of an impulse decision. So when a person is making a mistake more than once, there's an underlying reason. There's a problem that hasn't been solved, and this person, their subconscious mind is kind of like having them repeat the same mistakes as a form of protection. Now, eventually some people will stop making the same mistake because they're either hurting themselves or they're hurting the people around them. But it's not always the case that the underlying reason for that repeated mistake is ever solved. So those are my thoughts on that.